Mr. Ratburn, the beloved third grade teacher from the children's show Arthur, has come out as gay. I feel the burn. Do you? In the recent season premiere, Mr. Ratburn and the special someone, Mr. Ratburn gets married to his partner Patrick. Guys, rats are getting married on PBS shows and I can't even get my boyfriend to move in with me. Welcome back to InformOverload. We do the news and spill the tea. I'm Charlotte Dobre and I'm just as surprised as you are that the makers of Arthur are becoming woke. Then again, you're woke, I'm woke, and children's media is starting to portray real life scenarios so that children grow up being more tolerant of minorities. If you stand this, why don't you hit that like button and subscribe for more. Also, do you like money? What about free money? I mean, I think pretty much everyone likes free money. We are running a contest on our Instagram right now and the prize is a $75 Visa gift card. You gotta be following us on Instagram to participate, so make sure you do that and check out our recent post for contest instructions. The contest ends this Sunday, May 19th, so get a following. Now! Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about Arthur and Mr. Ratburn and why his coming out is so important. The children in Arthur Reed's third grade class find out in the season premiere that Mr. Ratburn is getting married. They at first think that Mr. Ratburn is getting married to Patty, voiced by Jane Lynch. The children were unhappy about this because Patty was quite rude. I was trying to find a rhyme for Patty, but I couldn't think of one. The children are against this wedding, and they even try to write a poem posing as Mr. Ratburn to the librarian to try and convince her to marry Mr. Ratburn. But Patty, turns out, is actually Mr. Ratburn's sister. The children don't find out Mr. Ratburn is marrying his partner Patrick until the actual wedding, and they are thrilled. Not necessarily because Mr. Ratburn is gay, but because he's not marrying someone mean like his sister Patty. Batty Patty. This episode highlights the power of assumptions. All the children think that Mr. Ratburn is marrying a woman, and they even try to get him to marry a different woman, because like what other choice could there be? We live in a day and age where it is entirely possible for people to marry the same gender. Shocking, I know. And one of the most notable things to take away from this episode is that Mr. Ratburn's personality does not change once it's revealed that he's gay. He's the same old Mr. Ratburn that loves homework and teaching and doing puppet shows. This diminishes the idea that not all people who are gay are effeminate or masculine. They just are who they are. That's an extremely important thing to teach children and for a children's show to emulate. Maybe children's only experience with gay people is that they are different from everyone else. Maybe they believe that a man is only gay if he's effeminate. But that's not always the case. It's not always obvious that someone is gay. But even if someone is gay, that shouldn't change your respect for them. Let's not forget that Mr. Ratburn is an authority figure. Teachers are authority figures that deserve respect regardless of their gender, race, or sexual orientation. If you're like me, you grew up watching Arthur. Arthur first hit the airwaves in 1996. It's a show about an aardvark named Arthur and his third grade class taught by Mr. Ratburn. I remember rushing home from school so I could catch the 4 p.m. episode of Arthur every single day. Arthur wasn't like other children's shows because it appealed to everybody, even adults. Those jokes are still funny even now, and I'm old as Even my mom would laugh at the jokes, and she's old as But being a kid growing up in the 90s, you almost never saw equal representation in children's shows. It just wasn't done, and it's still something that isn't done often enough. But the creator of Arthur and PBS wanted to change that, at least for them. There aren't a lot of children's shows that openly embrace gay concepts, gay themes, gay characters, gay plot lines. Even though in the recent remake of Beauty and the Beast it was alluded to that LeFou was gay, no Disney character openly said the words "I'm gay" until this year in 2019. That show was Andy Mack. It's a Disney Channel original, and the character Cyrus Goodman finally uttered the words "I'm gay." Which is like, seriously man, it's 2019. I think we've all heard someone utter the words "I'm gay" by now. PBS has tried to embrace the concept before on another show called Postcards from Buster, an Arthur spin-off. In this episode, Buster visited a family that had 2 lesbian mothers. PBS was forced to pull the episode by former Education Secretary Margaret Spellings under George W. Bush for fear the children might be exposed to lesbians. Oh god, not lesbians! The Education Secretary pulled that episode before it even aired. Even Arthur's creator Mark Brown said that he was disappointed by PBS's decision to comply with Spellings' request. Arthur creator Mark Brown had this to say: "What we are trying to do in the series is connect kids with other kids by reflecting their lives. We are validating children who are seldom validated. We believe that Postcards from Buster does this in a very neutral way and as always from the point of view of the children." So this was back in 2005. Times have changed, but not by much. Transgender characters, for example, only make up about 4% of queer characters in broadcast and cable networks, 11% on streaming platforms. There are many gay children who grow up with gay parents, gay people in their lives. There are many children who maybe feel like they might be different. To them, that's totally normal, but to others, it might not be. And that should change. Gay people exist. There's one over there. You can't pretend that they don't exist by overlooking them and not putting them in the media. The thing that makes media so successful is that people want to see stories and characters that are relatable. They want to see themselves on screen. It's not about pushing an agenda, it's about recognizing that everybody is different and normalizing those differences. Because that's exactly what being different is. It's normal. Okay? I should know that more than anyone. Plots involving LGBT characters can improve social tolerance, according to research from the forthcoming book The Path to Gay Rights, author Jeremiah Gerritsen, who's an assistant professor of political science at California State University. He said, exposure to lesbians and gays increase either interpersonally or through television the probability of supporting job protections for lesbians and gays. The reaction to this decision by PBS and the makers of Arthur has been extremely well received on social media. Here were some of the best tweets. I never thought I would see the day that a PBS Kids show, especially Arthur, have a gay character. Way to go, Mr. Ratburn, it's a good day to be alive. PSA, Mr. Ratburn from Arthur is gay. Do you know how amazing it is that someone who's been on the show from the start, someone who's a main character, is openly gay and getting married on a kids show? PBS Kids really is that bitch. Plus, all his students are at his wedding. Shout out to PBS for the representation, just watched Mr. Ratburn and the special someone and I'm so here for it. But for now, I want to hear your thoughts on this down there in the comments. For now, I'm gonna wrap up this video with some comment features from my video. Man pretends to be a woman on Tinder using Snapchat filter and gets 300 matches. What an appropriate way to end this video. Shiny Pokemon said, please do a story about Arthur's Mr. Ratburn announced as being gay. Like for real, I grew up on this show and never did I think that he was gay. Moreover, a gay person being represented on a PBS show, this kind of representation makes me feel happy and proud. I stand that comment. Hot Muscle Grandma with 12 abs said, is a potato a vegetable or a fruit? Depends. Potatoes are classified botanically as a vegetable but nutritionally as a starch. The more you know. Anthony Jerome said, hi, I wonder what I would look like as a potato. But you are a potato. That is it for me. To keep watching this channel, why don't you click that playlist right over there. And obviously leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will see you in a future IO video.